Another warning report now, something to tell your elderly relatives and warn them about. Although this is currently being seen in Manchester, this will likely spread to other parts of the country if it hasn't already. At least 10 reports have been received by Greater Manchester Police over a conman posing as a copper on the phone, targeting pensioners to steal their life savings. After 10 cases were reported to police, it appears that 2 of the victims did in fact fall for it and handed over money, one of which handed over £6,000. The scam works by a person calling to introduce themselves as a police officer or detective and explaining that some fraud has occurred. As part of the investigation, the victim needs to withdraw cash from their account and a colleague will later collect it the same day. Amounts being requested range from anywhere between £2,000 up to £70,000. In a statement from Greater Manchester Police, they said, "The incidents so far have consisted of the offender contacting the victims from a withheld number stating that he is PC or DC Matthew Phillips, Greater Manchester Police, with a collar number of 5772. Victims that have been in contact with us so far have been from the Little Lever, Horwich and West Orton areas of Bolton and have tended to be aged in their 70s and 80s. Unfortunately, in 2 of the 5 cases, money, the most being in excess of £6,000, has been handed over to the offender, who was said to have been wearing tracksuit bottoms and a hoodie. Ongoing inquiries so far suggest it appears to be a national issue and that he is trying to target people that he thinks are vulnerable to this kind of crime. Actively still searching for any other similar incidents that could possibly be linked to this series across Bolton and beyond, and are keen to hear from any members of the public who may have information. Please remember, police will not under any circumstances ask for you to withdraw money for any reason. Every police officer has a warrant card with a photographic ID to make their identity available to members of the public. Detective Sergeant Robert Parker of Bolton CID said, "We want to make local people aware again of a further 5 incidents that have so far been brought to our attention about a man purporting to be a police officer from GMP and asking for significant amounts of money to be withdrawn. Impersonating a police officer is illegal, but to do this to defraud innocent members of the community is an appalling offence, and we are doing what we can to conduct several lines of inquiry to catch whoever is responsible for this. A big part of our initial investigation is to establish the full picture of this offending, and therefore I urge anyone who may think they too have been a victim of this scam to contact us online if able or via 101. I must stress that no police officer would have a reason to be randomly making contact with people and asking them to withdraw money. And if you ever have contact with somebody saying they're from the police and you're unsure of their genuineness, then do you know you're entitled to ask for proof of identity, or you can contact 101 if unsure. Always call 999 in an emergency. Now, the problem here, people, is that 101 calls take time to get through. You have to confirm the force you're calling, then listen to the Chief Constable waffle on for several minutes about some crap before someone even answered the phone. Granted, once answered by a call handler, you can get the information quickly, but even if you call the police, they will no doubt simply say, "Don't hand anything over, don't answer the door, and don't answer withheld numbers." What they should be doing, of course, is heading out to the address of the caller and sitting in wait for the courier to arrive, then nabbing them, although that takes effort. Another thing they could do is, instead of wasting taxpayers' money on made-up jobs to ignore the police's bad behaviour, they could simply spend some of that money on leaflets to go out in the post as early as possible to warn residents of the local area of the particular scam. This would, of course, be a far better use of public money than prosecuting someone for exercising their right to free speech. But my point for sharing this is because now it's been made public, the scammers will likely target another area and move around the country doing the same scam. So I urge all of you to inform your relatives, your elderly relatives, and educate them to call you or the police before agreeing anything. Even if it is legitimately the police contacting them for some reason, they can still call you or the police themselves to either come round and deal with the situation for them to find for them, or to find out if the person is a genuine copper. However, calling the police and asking if a copper with a name and collar number is no foolproof way of determining if the person is legit or not, especially as we can all pretty much get a copper's name and badge number and use that, and if checked, the call handler will confirm its legit details. So personally, I suggest getting them to call you so you can go and deal with it. That way there's no mistake and no one gets ripped off of their life savings.